And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. Well, football returned and as we stated a couple of weeks ago, there was going to be an interesting, or was at least looking forward to seeing the reception of fans and what they would do with regard to Gary Neville's comments. Now, I think just over a week ago now, of course, Gary Neville came out in that video rant basically stating that the reason for division in the United Kingdom at this moment in time is due to middle-aged white men. Yes, those middle-aged white men that paid for his wages throughout his career. And again, those middle-aged white men that watch his TV shows, podcasts, and whatever have you. Now, Gary Neville is an owner of a football club, or at least a part owner of a football club called Salford City. And today we've seen large protests. We also hear lots of chants with regard to Gary Neville is a wanker, pitch invasions, and of course lots of Union Jacks and St. George's flags in display. Now, we are going to be taking a look at the footage from this because it's absolutely glorious, and we're also going to be discussing football again, as a 2020 phenomenon is back in 2025. Yes, taking the knee. Yes, they started to take the knee today. Again, in 2025. Yes, football is really, really woke. And I hate when politics comes into football. We've just seen it with Aston Villa as well. Religion coming into football. Football's a mess right now, and I'm a big supporter of football. I absolutely love football. But let's get into the stuff that you're all here to see, and that's with regard to the pitch invasions and the reaction to Gary Neville. As always, guys, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. So, as stated, it was Oldham versus Salford, and Oldham fans, again, were pretty unanimous on this as well. So they were the away supporters arriving to Salford Stadium, and they held up this banner prior to kickoff, or just outside of the stadium, saying police release photos of angry middle-aged white men causing division. Gary Neville and Gary Lineker. Absolutely loved that touch. Now, during the international break as well, England supporters as well in Riga turned their back on Gary Neville during Tuesday's World Cup qualifier, with offensive chants branding the former defender a wanker ringing out from the away section. So the England fans obviously coming together during the international break and saying what they felt of him after his comments that he made about middle-aged white men. But this is what we all wanted to see. This is what we all wanted to see in terms of the reception at his own football club and how they were going to treat him following those comments. And here's some video footage from today at Salford. Oof. What's going on? What's on? Gary Neville is a wanker, just whilst we continue, guys, I don't condone, of course, invading a pitch as a way of protesting. I have to say this, of course, as I'm delivering a video, and you shouldn't do it. I think it's illegal doing that on a football pitch. So yeah, you shouldn't do it. Here's some more footage though of the of people invading the pitch. So yeah, you can hear those chants of Gary Neville as a wanker and a traitor ringing out there at that stadium. There's another banner again, as well as we've seen. But yeah, this is the sort of footage. But the away fans and the home fans, of course, joining in. Joey Barton says possible terrorist attack. Group of radicalised middle-aged men, flag-waving, nationalists storm pitch in Salford, throwing Gary Neville as a wanker cards about. Send in the troops. But yeah, what else did we hear say as well?
Supporting our local team.
Oh man, imagine that! Like, you're literally your own football club's fans now turning on me. He really didn't get it, did he? He really didn't get who he was aiming those comments towards. Literally, owner of a football club and saying that about his punters it was never going to go down well. And I feel like this is probably going to be a trend that we see go on for a while. And of course, he's a pundit. He's on commentary as well. He's probably going to get booed when he's going to be covering the Premier League matches and whatnot. But as I said, it's continuing. This is the sort of first game Salford have had back since, of course, his comments a matter of a week ago. But yeah, fantastic there. Of course, people showing their disgust in Gary Neville and those disgusting comments that he made. Remember, we've not heard him say anything about Aston Villa, of course, banning Jews. But again, we're seeing a lot of football clubs and footballers, ex-footballers starting to get involved in politics and having their say. People like Gary Neville should never have a say in what's going on, and certainly should never be telling people, saying to his own punters or the people that made him, that they're the reason for division in this country. But I look forward to seeing his paragraph, of course, revealed with regard to Aston Villa a little bit later on. But keeping on to the football note, ladies and gentlemen, remember this trend. Now, back in 2020, following the whole George Floyd situation, we used to, there was a while where the BLM movement, on whatever it may be, everybody knows that racism is bad, guys, right? We all know that. But for a while in football, it was politicized by these ideological movements. Now, if it's the rainbow laces, then it was Black Lives Matter on all the back of people's Premier League jerseys, which was again, if you do some digging in behind this organization, then you'll really know their true intentions and what they're all about. But for years after, they were doing this pointless token gesture of sitting down and taking a knee. And guess what? Today, it's back. They're taking knees. So this is from the game from Chelsea earlier, Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest, and all of the fans booed. And then you've got woke liberal fannies like this, Marky Mark. If you booed players taking the knee today, you're a mong. These guys need to get some education somewhere. I bet he has like a pride flag in his thing. Father, dog owner, atheist. Oh, that explains everything. But yeah, look, listen. As stated, look, everyone knows that taking a knee has no impact, and especially for what they used to do it for. The BLM movement, which was, it's come out just how bad the BLM movement was and what actually they were doing. It's disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting, and they're still doing it to try and kick racism out of football. Where ironically, literally 2 days ago, a Premier League club, who will be taking the knee over the weekend, literally was forced to make a racist move and ban Jewish people from attending a football game because they couldn't guarantee their safety. But now they're sort of glorifying this taking the knee and saying that there's no room for racism. Of course there's no room for racism. But again, you don't pick and choose your battles. Let's have a look at what was said on GB News.
There's a few things that Fahima said that are correct. However, when this started in 2020, the first season, it was brilliant. Bearing in mind we had COVID, where less games were played, but the first year to measure the impact was 2021-22. And there was a huge reduction in the abuse on the field. But when they stopped in 2022, the reduction continued by 20% and 30% the next two seasons without taking the knee. Now, they stopped taking the knee in 2022 after consultation with players. And I've spoken to many of my Black and ethnic minority colleagues in football or football fans. They all, without exception, say the same thing. It's lost its impact. It was brilliant to start with, but it has no impact now. People are saying, oh, goodness, here we go again. And that should not be the case. The last year, there's been a huge rise, and Kick It Out has said, rightfully so, and Fahima said, it's gone up 65% last year. Now, taking the knee is not going to change that. We've proved it's not going to change that. They need to come up with something substantial. The change in society the last year, 18 months, towards racism has been horrendous. That's what we need to address. This is not just a football issue. This is a societal issue.
Fahima?
I agree with what you're saying, and I understand the fatigue, but I disagree that there is no meaning. The gesture keeps the issue visible. And when we know that abuse still happens, players are targeted, supporters racially abused, visibility still matters. It's not just about one moment. It's about the continued statement that discrimination will not be tolerated. And yes, we do need further measures to make sure that these things are taken further than just a gesture. But until that happens, it's a worldwide view. It's actually getting even news right now that we're speaking about it, that they are taking the knee. And if people are watching that, then again, it raises the awareness again, and it starts with awareness, and then it can develop.
Fahima. The visibility is having a negative effect now. That's why we've got to do something different.
It's having a negative effect from people that think it's actually woke and it's not meaning anything, when actually a lot of people
I don't do woke,
voluntarily
I don't do woke at all. But this,
well, they voluntarily
sorry, one at a time, ladies. Sorry, one at a time. Fahima, finish your point, then Jenny, you can respond.
I mean that it is a voluntary act. So at the end of the day, people are doing it out of their own sort of way of wanting to put something across, which means something. Footballers are role models. They are seen to be someone that people want to be influenced by. So if they've taken a stance, they're influencing youngsters to say that this is not acceptable. It is actually also sending a message. We follow influencers. Footballers make a huge difference. And I think it does say something more than you realize, especially to the younger generation.
I think it means absolutely nothing. I think taking a knee means absolutely nothing to stop racism. You've literally just seen an incident over the last 2 or 3 days. It's about speaking out about it. And if they want to use their influence for something, then again, I don't really like people politicizing and jumping onto ideologies and stuff like this. Like, I don't think we should have politics or these issues being into football. But if an individual wants to take it, I suppose, personally, and call out the wrongs, the clear wrongs in life, and not go behind an ideology like Black Lives Matter or, LGBTQ plus movement, which is, their ideology movements. They're all not all inclusive. They go about, the history in those things. They're absolutely diabolical movements, and siding with these, it just makes zero sense. But they can use their influence in other ways. But taking a knee means absolutely fucking nothing, especially when a Premier League club 2 or 3 days ago literally was forced into do a racist move and banning a certain religion from attending a football game. So it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. These people, you get them on X all the time. The booing of taking the knee makes us look like parapital racist club. It's embarrassing. Who's he a fan of? Oh, Sunderland. I mean, the Sunderland fans from the northeast, they're very real people. Again, you're seeing more of that. As I say, keep politics out of football. Taking the knee is a joke. The players will be taking the knee today against discrimination and racism. At the same time, the whole nationality are being banned from attending a football match. You couldn't make it up. Exactly. So there you go. I mean, it means nothing. And as I said, a lot of the fans were booing this today, which just goes to show that they don't know their target audience. And it's the same with Gary Neville. They don't know who their target audience is. They completely alienate these people that attend these games week in and week out, trying to push their sort of woke agenda onto them through sort of mainstream media psyoping. You've got Gary Neville sort of alienating them and degrading them. And now you're trying to push this shit down their throat as well. This doesn't work. Absolutely doesn't work. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, by the way, he didn't take a knee today. He didn't take a knee. He didn't want to be a part of it. And he's a sort of black or mixed race player. Didn't want to be a part of it because he knows it doesn't do anything. It's a token gesture. Does absolutely he-or. And yeah. Guys, let's get into the live chat. I do want to know your thoughts on everything that we've discussed so far. Of course, with regard to Gary Neville and the taking of the knee, coming back into football in 2025. It's absolutely mental how it's coming back to football in 2025. Let's have a look. I've got a donation. Thank you so much, DMB, for your donation. What an absolute guy. Very, very generous of you. And yeah, thank you so much for your generosity. Footballers should say no to taking the knee. If they don't want to, they should not be pressured. Well, we've seen it a lot, whether it been like Matic. He didn't want like Matic didn't want like an LGBT patch or something on his like Ligue 1 jersey with Lyon last season, and he just refused. He didn't want to be a part of it. And we always say, who's that tit as well? And again, people boo him. Obviously, he's within our country, but the guy that chooses not to wear the poppy, the Irish guy. I can't mind what his name is now, but he doesn't wear the poppy. A lot of players don't wear the poppy. So they do have a decision and they can do certain things. But of course, they don't want to be cancelled. They're scared of speaking up because, you know, sort of Sky Sports, they're sort of people in charge of them want to try and push woke stuff down people's throats, and it goes against the grain. They'll be demonized as someone. I mean, look at Matt Letizia for an argument's sake. Look at Joey Barton. These guys have been like completely cancelled now. Like no one will touch them with for managerial jobs, punditry jobs. No one will touch them anymore due to them speaking out about certain things and saying, "Nah, this stuff's nonsense." So that's what happens when you start standing up as a player. So you can sometimes. Well, I say you should always have a backbone and be strong, but you see what happens to people if they do stand up and go against the sort of grain, so to speak. They get quickly cancelled very, very quickly. Janet says Oldham has a prayer room at their ground. I mean, why? Well, look at the demographic. That's it, James McLean, that's the guy's name. But yeah, he doesn't wear a poppy. He gets abused for it all of the time. Whilst I don't necessarily agree with that, you're in the country that pays your wages and taxes and whatnot. But then if people want freedom of speech, then they shouldn't be demonized for not taking a knee, for fuck's sake. It means nothing. Nothing. But if a player doesn't take a knee, all of a sudden it's front page news and they're sort of public enemy number one. It's like this guy doesn't believe in the cause, especially if it was a white player. So like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for instance, he can get away with it because he's mixed race, like black or mixed race. So it's not, there's not much uproar about it because he's racial discrimination happens to me, so I can, if I don't feel like it's making an impact, then I won't do it. But if a white player, for example, did that and didn't take a knee, he'd be on every front page newspaper saying that this guy is racist. They would just say, he may have never said a racist thing in his life, but he would just get deemed as racist. He would get scapegoated as racist. Like, you're the racist. And then that's probably why people don't want to try and go against the grain, because the media will demonize them. And people will try and cancel them. And to be fair, I absolutely love football, but I don't like the politics around football. But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of wet wipes on football Twitter. There is a lot of wet wipes on football Twitter. If you see people and their sort of ideologies that watch this game, it's absolutely mental. Some of the people that are like the sort of loudest voices, I suppose, on social media, some of their woke crap that they come out with, all these big accounts, my goodness. Often I feel like the loudest voices in the rooms get the most attention, and that's the sort of mainstream that we go by. But most football attending supporters are white middle-aged men that, again, don't politicize themselves with any of these movements. Just got back from Newcastle to London. The difference is insane. Yeah, well, London. Yeah, London is always the template of what's going to happen for the rest of the UK. Just over the next couple of years, London's always at the forefront of it. And in fact, I would go as far to say Birmingham actually is. Birmingham's at the forefront of it all, but then London is not far behind Birmingham. And then if you want to have a little look at where Europe's going to be, take your wife or your husband, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and go on a romantic trip to Paris and go to some certain places in Paris. There's one district of Paris that's nice, the 6th. Apart from that, you'll see what's coming to the UK very, very soon. You better believe it. It's not great. It's not great. They're about 5 years ahead. But yeah, if you want to have a little peek into the future, what the UK's turning into, go to Paris. Don't stay in the 6th. Don't stay in the sort of main, but just go into the other areas like Barbs and places like this that are in touristy areas. Just go there and see what it looks like. That's coming to our city very, very soon. The English Auditor donates £5. Thank you, English Auditor. What an absolute legend. Thank you for your kind generosity. Taking the knee ain't going to do shit. They're multi-millionaires. If they care that much, put your money where your knee is and pay them reparations or something. They don't care. The players don't care about that sort of stuff. They don't. They just have to, because it's in their sponsorship deals. You know, there's this in their sort of sponsorship agreements. You see all these companies that are paying these mass amounts in sponsorship deals. They are woke as well, whether it be Adidas, whether it be Nike, whether it will be Umbro, whether it be whoever works with football. They're all sort of woke brand, and they all have sort of regulations. And if players start going against the grain, then all of a sudden they'll start pulling their sponsorships out of them and don't want to be associated with them because they're all woke. So it comes from the sort of top down. As you said, yeah, Nike forces it. They absolutely do. Has Paris syndrome gotten worse in Japan? I haven't been to Japan, although I'm going there, I think, in maybe April or something. So we'll see what's what. Oi, leave us Brummies out of it. Oi, nothing, like I said the other night, nothing against the Brummies. The Brummies are great guys. Great people. I love the Brummies, actually. I see them everywhere you go. But I love the Brummies. But I'm just saying, the state of the city, at no fault of your own as such, but it's not easy on the eye anymore, let's put it that way. But nothing against the actual Brummie people. Great people, funny people, hard-working people. But yeah, it's just the swift change that isn't easy on the eye in Birmingham, let's put it that way. Woke brainwashing, that's where it all comes from. Why do they never take the knee for the countless victims of grooming gangs and dealers? Because it doesn't fit the woke narrative. That's what I'm saying. Everything to do with mainstream media, everything to do with mainstream brands is on a sort of center-left basis. Anything that leans towards the right, all of a sudden it's just racist. They won't go near it. They don't want to go near that sorts of stuff. So with grooming gangs, for some reason, yeah, they don't want to alienate. They don't want to be deemed as racist because the perpetrators of this are a protected species in our country, so to speak, because it's from a certain religion. And now we don't want to alienate and talk out against Islam and these people and what they did to our women and girls within our country because it would be deemed as racist. That's why they don't touch it. But you're right. It goes against the status quo. Did you see that weird video of Neville and Starmer meeting in the woods? Two middle-aged men lurking in woodland dodgy or what? Well, that was a podcast, actually, funnily enough. Keir Starmer. This just goes to show what Gary Neville's all about. He's a part of Labour. He's a part of WEF. He's part of all of it. And he brought him on his podcast and interviewed him. This was when the general election was coming up, and interviewed him to try and push him, try and use his audience to try and get Keir Starmer into power. I mean, it was probably the least viewed video on his whole channel. And for a while, I did like his podcast. I've kind of boycotted it now because he just talks nonsense. But yeah, he brought him on there. That was a massive own goal. Just look at the comments on that video. That will tell you everything you need to know. No one liked it whatsoever. Guys, Debbie James again donates 3 British Stand memberships. Debbie James really does keep the keeps the lights on in this on this channel. Thank you, Debbie, for your generosity again for everything. And that was a joke with the lights on, guys. I was only joking. As I say, keep your money to yourself, and yeah, you don't need to donate to me or anything like that. But thank you, Debbie. I think British can declare his non-suicidal status daily. Everyone should refuse to attend the Villa match, or they should all attend carrying a British and Israeli flag. Who would have? I think Tommy Robinson's actually doing a huge protest actually for that game, funnily enough. Liverpool here, we've had enough. We're about to blow. And this is, I'm seeing this a lot from Liverpool as a city. Now, Liverpool in the media as a city is deemed as a left-leaning city, a left-leaning place. But as I said, the whole country is waking up now. And you're actually starting to see more people move to parties like Reform and, you know, move along. What now is sort of deemed as far right is actually just kind of centre. It's very conservative views. But nowadays, because the radical left have gone so extreme with pushing their propaganda down us, if you're in the centre, you know, or even centre right, you're deemed as a far right thug because they have gone so far the other side. That's what it is. Gary Neville never seen singing the national anthem when representing his country. Fact. The guy doesn't care about the UK play. I loved how he used that as a point of, I absolutely love my country. I love my country. Just because you played for England, it doesn't mean that you loved your country. You know, you get paid £1,000 a game and it looks a lot better. You know, you can compete for major honours and play at World Cups and Euros. It doesn't mean you love your country. Do you know what I mean? He's, you know, it's to progress his career as well. It's sort of seen as the top level of football by playing for your national team. It doesn't mean he loves his country. That's why you see players that, for instance, my family are Scottish. Some players that can't play for England, they end up playing for Scotland because their grandfather was Scottish. Doesn't mean they love Scotland. No, it's because they want to play international football to better progress their career and play at a major tournament. It doesn't make you patriotic whatsoever. Or same with the sort of some of the Wales players. It's just because they want to benefit them, not for the love of their country. He should stick to commenting on football. I mean, he probably should stop with that, to be fair, as well. Some of his points are absolutely outrageous, you know. And that's no hate to the Man U fans or anything like that. But every year, Man U are going to win titles and stuff like that. But they don't. And again, no hate to the Man U fans. We're all in there. I don't want to segregate anyone in football-wise. But yeah, he does make some outrageous claims as well every single season with regard to football. So yeah, probably should stick away from that as well. Guys, you've heard Golden Skeptic. Come on, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, bad result today. Good first half, second half, appalling. Same old, same old. Hate it. Good to see Buzla. Hope you're well. It was pure chance that they met in the woods together if you go down to the woods today. No, he just wanted to do what he could. Hector AFC says, I agree. He did not play for England for love. He played for England for money. Well, yeah, to better his career and move on. The thing is with him is I have no problem with people wanting to progress in business and be a capitalist. I think the world is a great place when you're, you know, it's capitalist, right? And you go out there and you create businesses for yourself. I love it. I love people that go out there and create companies. And I'm not ashamed of people that say that they do things, you know, set up a company because they want to make a lot of money. I think that's great. That's why we live in a sort of capitalistic society. However, what I can't stand is these individuals like Gary Neville, that do that, operates businesses, creates businesses, but then pushes socialist viewpoints on other people from a position where he's in a sort of an ivory tower, so to speak. So he's made it, he's got all of his money, he's doing all of his companies, now wants the world to go to a socialist way and live almost like communism, and then sort of tell people how to live with not really understanding how people live. You know, he's a champagne socialist. That's what I hate about Gary Neville. I'd rather him come out and say, yes, I fucking love money. And yes, I want to make a shit ton of money. And I'm going to keep running companies and making companies to make a shit ton of money. I wouldn't mind if he said that, if that was his remit. But I hate where he comes out doing it, says one thing and then acts a different way. I absolutely hate it. Or acts one way and says something else. In politics and what have you. Speaking from a point that he would never understand. Speaking on something that he has no clue on. Maniac. Kim donates £2. Thank you, Kim, for your donation. Thank you very much. Wayne Rooney didn't sing the anthem, but he held his head up high. Neville looked downwards. Every fan has a moral obligation to boo players taking the knee, which we did see, of course, at Nottingham Forest and Chelsea today. Guys, I've been talking for ages. Do let me know your thoughts on the sort of reaction with regard to Gary Neville and Salford City. Let me know your thoughts on the taking the knee in 2025. Does it make a point, or is it completely cooked? Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you all later. The road to 300k is upon us. It's there. We're nearly there. We're getting closer and closer. We also launched the Facebook page, by the way, recently. And funnily enough, we're doing pretty well on Facebook. We just had one of the videos on Facebook, funnily enough, and I don't like to flex, but it shows the power of the social media and this movement that we've created. We posted a video yesterday on Facebook, and at the time of recording this, it's got 610,000 views. So if you haven't followed us on Facebook yet, guys, jump over there as well. It's a little bit different content. It's more like real-based stuff. But if you want to, give us a follow. If not, then don't. Or see you next time on YouTube. Take care. Look after yourself.